Hello everyone and welcome to another Doctor Who action figure review. For today's review I shall be taking a look at a figure which a lot of you will be wondering what the hell this is. This is of a Doctor Who character. Do you recognise this character? If not, then you can be forgiven. This is a character from an episode of Doctor Who called The Doctor's Wife, which aired in the Matt Smith era, and the character's name is called Uncle. Now, if you still don't recognise this character, that is because this is one of those characters who was just there in the background. We also had other characters such as Auntie, we had Idris, who was like a manifestation of the TARDIS, and then we had Nephew, the Ood. Nephew, the Ood was made into a figure which I think would be far more interesting to review for all of you, but unfortunately I don't have that figure. I never owned that figure. Maybe I'll get that figure one day somehow, but for now, here we go. Here is my review of the Uncle figure. This, you could argue, was one of the figures which spelt the end of the action figure line releasing in supermarket retailers before we ended up with online exclusives, Forbidden Planet exclusives, before eventually getting a mini revival with the B&M sets from the last few years. So here we have it. This is the Uncle figure. Now, even though I do say there is one of the most insignificant characters to ever be made into a figure, when there are far more characters from the Who universe who deserve the figure treatment, who never got a release either ever or got released far much later than this figure ever did, I guess we're just going to have to take a look at this guy. For the most part, I think the detailing on this guy is actually pretty good. If I just take out his staff accessory for a second, I think the detailing all around is great. You know, his clothing is great. He's got his head with the sculpt of the hat on it, and he even comes with an alternate head as well, which is very rare, especially for the new series figures. Here is the alternate head, if you wish to display him without the hat. As you can see, you've got paint on the face, which I guess is supposed to be stubble or dirt, I'm not really sure. And you've got these marks all over his head, which are supposed to be scars, and you know, you've got that part on the side of his head there. Overall, it looks alright, and obviously he's got the weird funny eye thing going on there. Because I believe that's how he looked in The Doctor's Wife. But just looking at the rest of the figure, you know, you've got all the detailing on his suit. You know, you've got all the gold buttons there. You've got the red lining. It's all detailed in black, and you've got all the creases all around. You've got the belt, and you know, you've got little bits and pieces here and there. A whole amalgamation of different colours around the figure. You've got this bandolier here. You've got what looks like a brown shirt underneath. You've got brown here as well, which I guess is part of like an undergarment he's got going on. You know, there's a lot of things going on with this guy, and obviously you've got more of the red on the shoulders here, around the collar. You've got it on his other hand here. He's even got a red glove. So I like how it's a sort of mishmash of stuff, which I suppose is accurate to what you see in the story, because most of the story is set in a junkyard and there's lots of bits and pieces put together. We even have the infamous junkyard TARDIS, which did get a release, which still baffles me why we got that release, but we never got any other TARDIS sets released, particularly from the classic line, but oh well. He even has his brown boots, and one boot is bigger than the other. So, you know, I think I quite like how character options have really gone to the lengths of making sure that this is one of the more unusual figures to get a release. Even like how on the hand there's still that little bit of dirty detail on it to suggest that he's full of dirt, a bit like how you see on his face. As for the staff, I like the staff. You got all the different colours, all the bits and bobs on there, and he just holds it up on the shelf, and to be honest it stands out a little bit, but sometimes you have to think, oh wait, who was this character again? And honestly, if it wasn't for this figure ever getting released, I would have completely forgotten about this character, because overall he didn't do that much. He only had a few lines in the entire script. Now for the articulation. Now obviously the head can move around and it is removable because, as I said, it has an interchangeable head. You have articulation in the shoulders, hindered here because of the material used here. You also have your articulation in your elbows, in your biceps, in your wrists, and the same goes for the other arm. Again, hindered by this bandolier here, and you've got it in your biceps, your elbows, your wrists. Looking at the legs, they can move up and down. There's also waist articulation, they can move all the way around. You also can move your knees back and forth, and there's even 360 at both ankles. Overall, despite all of my misgivings which I had at the beginning of this review with this being a totally insignificant character, probably not deserving a figure release, the figure itself isn't all that bad. It was one of those infamous peg warmers from that era. All over the shelves on Toys R Us, nobody bought this. Except for me, of course. So there you have it. That is my review of the Uncle figure, which was something that came out quite a number of years ago now. I'm going to leave the rest to you. If you want to subscribe, then do so. If you want to comment below, tell me if you have this figure. I really would like to know if you do own this figure in your collection, as I'm sure quite a number of people may have missed out on this for all the reasons that I've mentioned in this video. Alright guys, take care, and I shall see you for even more Doctor Who action figure reviews. Bye.